Moderate Islamists are more of a threat than terrorists. Let me repeat that. Moderate Islamists are more of a threat than terrorists. Islamic centers around the country are working overtime to promote the idea that Islam is an essential part of society and its followers are good neighbors and people that you can trust. But constant terrorist attacks tell us a different story about Islam. Every time I see a hijab or a burqa or other clothing of Islam, I realize it's not a religious statement, but a political statement. It's a political movement that says we're going to take your country from you as our very own through a Trojan horse breed and conquer plan, which has already unfolded in Europe. Islam is infiltrating America and entering into every area of our lives, from Muslim travel agencies to Muslim colleges. Even our prisons are being infiltrated by Islam. Realizing they cannot win militarily, cultural jihad is being fought by moderate, peaceful Muslims who practice Islam, and it is very, very dangerous to the future of America. Essentially, they are committing cultural terrorism against us, and political correctness is enabling it to spread like wildfire. Anyone who speaks against Islam is considered to be politically incorrect or even a racist. I don't have a racist bone in my body. But soon, freedom of speech may be a thing of the past, as it may be illegal to speak out against Islam, the Islam that wants to destroy all of us. Islam teaches that Islam teaches that it is an individual duty of each able-bodied Muslim to wage war against the disbelievers until we either convert or submit. Let me repeat. Islam teaches that it is an individual duty of each able-bodied Muslim to wage war against the disbelievers until we either convert or submit. This war is called jihad. Islam is rightly associated with the words radical Islam, Islamic terrorism, violent jihad, death, destruction, and violence. It wasn't radical Islam that killed 49 people in Orlando, ladies and gentlemen. It was Islam. It is really simple. Islam infiltrates the country. They demand religious freedom, which is really political freedom. They enter into politics representing Islam. In fact, 2 Muslim members of Congress have been accused of having attended an event organized by the Muslim Brotherhood, a deathly enemy of the state. Muslims refuse to assimilate. They take 4 wives and outbreed us. They organize with liberal sympathizers who pass laws that take away our guns so that we can't defend ourselves, our Constitution, and our freedoms. When the peaceful and quiet Islamists outbreed us and outnumber us, then the terrorist leaders among them ban the Bible and brutally force their culture, their laws, and their religion upon all of us. If you resist, you are executed by the state, or stoned to death, or hacked to death by Islam mob majority. The naive Islam sympathizers who allowed this to happen will be thanked first by being the first ones to be executed. Then the hated Christians and Jews will be mutilated, crucified, and murdered. The blacks will be shown mercy by a quick death, most likely by a firing squad. and God only knows what will happen to the whites, Latinos, and Asians. They will surely meet their demise. Heads will roll literally by the evil hand of jihad. It will be a bloodbath of death and mayhem. Gays and atheists detested by Islam will be brutally tortured and then murdered. Muslims who resist Sharia law will also be killed and cast into the pit alongside their infidel brothers and sisters. Those who are left will not follow Jesus, but they will follow Muhammad. Then with the United States superpowers in their hands, with access to full nuclear war capabilities, they will conquer and or destroy the world. They have deceived most of the country. Deception is approved by Islam as long as the lie is to advance Islam. Deceit in the name of Muhammad is called taqiyya in Arabic. They smile to us in our faces and curse us in their hearts. Islamic sympathizers are inviting death to our descendants. They are simply naive as to what Islam really is. It isn't Islamophobia when they are really trying to kill you or conquer you. My sermon is not about the Muslim people. It's about the radical ideology of Islam, which includes all of moderate Islam. Incidentally, the peace Islam preaches refers to peace after we submit to Islam and become their slaves to Sharia law. Islam does not mean peace, it means submission. The Quran teaches to terrorize and behead those who believe in scriptures other than the Quran. Let me repeat. The Quran teaches to terrorize and behead those who believe in scriptures other than the Quran. The Quran says, strike off their heads until you have crushed them completely. The Bible says in John 16, the time is coming when those who will kill you will think they are offering a service to God. They will do such things because they have not known the Father or me. That time has come, brothers and sisters. Islam now screams, Allah Akbar, which means God is great in Arabic, as they maim and murder Westerners and Christians here at home and around the world. What Americans don't understand is that there is no separation between religion and government in Islam. Jesus taught separation of church and state. Render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, Matthew 22:21. But there is no democracy in Islam, only oppressive tribalism that believes in a theocracy, not a democracy. Peter's church is in holy war with Islam. Peter's church is one church standing up to 1,700 mosques in the USA. In Islam, there exists only the House of Islam and the House of War. The United States resides in an area considered by Islam to be the House of War. I'm Pastor Jerry Armstrong, Jr. of Peter's Church, your pastor-in-chief of the United States of America. I wish my mission was feel-good preaching like Joel Osteen's. It pays a lot more money and it's more fun. But God has assigned me the most difficult mission, which is to save all of Christianity and all of America from destruction by the sword of Islam. Islam teaches that it is the first and last religion. If we don't stop, Islam will be the last religion as it destroys our civilization and Christianity. Most pastors are simply afraid to stand up to Islam out of fear of being killed, or for fear of being called a racist, or for fear of being called out as politically incorrect. But this belief will end with the destruction of Christians and Christianity. Obviously, religious freedom and human rights are non existent in Islam. Christians have become like the lost sheep, as described in Jeremiah 50, verse 6. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have led them astray, turning them away on the mountains. From mountain to hill they have gone. They have forgotten their fold. I am not preaching hate against Muslims, whom Jesus teaches me to love. I am preaching against a political ideology that wants to enslave us all to Islam, strip us of all of our rights, take away our religion, and take away our very lives. Most people blindly believe the lie that Islam is just another harmless religion. These people are the lost sheep. We have to take our country back, folks. America, as we know it today, will just be a memory, a page in history, unless we act now to shift our future in the right direction and keep America free from the dangers of Islam. And yes, like all churches, I'm going to ask you for a donation. Yes, like all churches, I'm going to ask you for a donation. But the biggest reason I'm going to ask you for money, and lots of it, is because without literally tons of cash, the blind liberal media and the deaf liberal social media will keep your pastor in chief away from your eyes and from your ears. One example of the media protecting Islam is that it has kept the story of France shutting down numerous mosques very, very quiet. These mosques have preached hate and stored ammunition and weapons for jihad against non-Muslims. There are over 1,700 mosques in the United States, and 81% are said to preach jihad. They should be shut down immediately. There is no other ministry in the world dedicated solely to there is no other ministry in the world dedicated solely to prevent the conquest of America and Christianity by Islam, except for Peter's church. I am going to preach so loud and so furiously on TV against the enemy of Jesus and the world that my preaching will echo around the globe. I will not likely have a physical church building because it will be bombed or burned. But when properly funded, I will have a global television ministry and a global website. Through television, we can reach the USA, Europe, and the world. Free speech has already been banned in many countries, and the United States is one of the few countries in the world where Christians are not totally persecuted. I will pass these biblical truths on to younger pastors who will keep the pressure on Islam in future generations. These pastors will prevent the demise of Christianity and the collapse of America. If you can't support this ministry, I don't know what the world has come to. It will be the end for our descendants and the end of modern civilization. It will be the end for our descendants and the end of modern civilization if we don't act today. Islamists hide behind our Constitution, demanding their rights until they can replace it with a Sharia constitution. Let me repeat. Islamists hide behind our Constitution, demanding their rights until they can replace it with a Sharia constitution. Islam also uses our generous court system to sue for more and more rights. Do you want your grandchildren to exchange civilization for barbarism? Not to mention the imminent danger to all of us to death by terrorism. Terrorism can happen to terrorism can happen to any of us, anywhere, anytime, and any place. America wasn't like this when I was growing up. The Islamic invasion has changed all of that. The biggest mistake Americans and the world are making is that they believe that moderate Islamic followers don't believe in jihad. But in fact, all followers of Islam believe in their hearts the same message of hate and violence that is taught in the Quran. The Quran teaches apostasy. Apostasy is the abandonment or renunciation of the political belief in Islam. The punishment for apostasy is the death penalty. Moderate Islamists are denying they believe in apostasy for now, following Muhammad's teachings to lie to protect Islam. I care about our grandchildren, and I care about our great-great-grandchildren. I want to point out that because of the European Islamic invasion, many wealthy people are leaving Europe. They see the civil war that is coming. So let me repeat. I want to point out that because of the European Islamic invasion, many wealthy people are leaving Europe. They see the civil war that is coming. But let me ask you something. What do you do when there's no place to run? Defeating Islam and converting Muslims to Christianity has a very low priority in the Christian world. Let me repeat that. Defeating Islam and converting Muslims to Christianity has a very low priority in the world. A very, very low priority in the world and in our churches. Which is why I need your help to change all of that. My description of the horrors and the barbarism against our children will be 1,000 times worse than I have described. My description of the horrors and the barbarism against our children will be 1,000 times worse, 1,000 times worse than I have described here. The followers of Islam strap bombs to their own children and send them out on suicide missions. And they murder them in horrendous ways, including burning them to death when they disobey the laws of Muhammad. Do you think that they will even bat an eye about killing your children? We have to defeat Islam or it will defeat us. Islam is the world's fastest growing political religious group in the world. Why are Islamists infiltrating the USA? The USA currently has the largest Christian population in the world. Christianity is the biggest roadblock to the unlimited expansion of Islam. Most Americans don't even have a clue that we are at war. And it is a war being fought on American soil. That's never happened before. We feed and house them, embrace them, turn our backs on them, and they blow us away. I have 2 words to say to America. Wake up. We all have to get involved and be a part of the solution. We will win this war if we stand up. We will win this war if we stand up for the freedoms that our forefathers fought for. I am not politically correct, but I am biblically correct. Get ready now. Don't faint. I'm going to ask for a lot of money from an elite number of individuals from around the world. If you can give $1 billion, then give it. If you can give $100 million, then give it. I'm not crazy. I realize there are only a limited number of individuals in the world who can give $1 billion or $100 million, and you know who you are. But there are many of you who can give $1 million, so please give it. I'm looking to reach a large number of small donors and a large number of small donors and a small number of big donors. Give the amount God has called you to give to Peter's Church, P.O. Box 978, Lawrence, Kansas 66044. And remember, the Bible loves the and remember, the Bible teaches us that God loves a cheerful giver.